Hello everyone. Thank you for coming and clicking on this video. I just want to let you know real quick, the video you are about to watch is a pre-recorded video because I decided to take some time off to be with the Lord and also to just take a break from social media. So I will no longer be posting videos weekly. I will be posting one video monthly on the 15th of every month for the remainder of 2024. If you want to know my whole story on why I'm doing this, definitely go ahead and click the video right here that lays it all out for you. All right, well, no more of this. Let's get to the video. Hey everybody. All right, so let's jump right into this. So you are here because you are like Tamisha. I've taken this exam multiple times and I failed and I just feel like I cannot study. I cannot keep going. I don't have the motivation. I feel like I'm not focusing and I need help. Well, this video is definitely for you and this is what you're going to do. So the first thing I want you to do is to reflect on past failed attempts. So how does this actually look like and how do we actually put this into practical use? This is what I want you to do. So you're going to get yourself a journal or you can get a notebook. All right. And what I want you to do, I want you to express all those emotions, right? Just spill it all out, all the thoughts, everything that's just coming into your mind about this exam, all the negative things. Maybe this exam is too hard. Maybe this is a trick exam. Maybe just any and everything that just is filling your mind. And I want you to reflect on how you felt when you took the exam, and then once you finish writing all of that down, what I want you to do is think about and also identify your weak areas, right? Think about questions that may have came up that stumped you. Think about areas that you're like, I'm just really not that strong in. Maybe it was mental health, or maybe it was phys or pediatrics, and write it down. That's the first thing I want you to do. So I want you to reflect on your past failed attempts and jot down everything I mentioned. That's step number one. Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is I want you to set realistic goals for yourself. Okay, what does that look like, right? So what I want you to do is how you going to set your realistic goal is this. You're going to break down your study material into sections and chapters. You're going to set a goal to review one section out of the chapter each day. Don't forget to celebrate your progress, right? Make sure you celebrate yourself, encourage yourself. So when I say have a section, a chapter, for example, you can break it down into 4 chapters. So that would be pediatrics, phys, mental health, or you could say geriatrics. You can include it in that manner, okay? And each of these are considered a chapter. And then let's say for maybe phys, okay? So phys is your chapter. Now you're going to break it down into sections. So let's say you have the first section with phys has to do with cardiac. And then maybe the next section has to do with spinal cord. And then the next section has to do with stroke. Okay. So you see how I'm just breaking those down, and you're going to do the same thing for all of those chapters that you create. If you're kind of like, wow, this sounds like a really cool strategy, but I'm still going to struggle and figure out how to do this. If you go to the description below, I have Study with the Code of my course that provides this whole system that I'm mentioning in greater detail. All right. Now, let's go to the third thing I want you to do. Okay. So this is very important, but I feel like it's often overlooked. So this third thing that I want you to do. Oh, that was thunder. Sorry, guys. So anyway, so the third thing I want you to do is I want you to identify your learning style, and I'm going to say your learning preference. because learning style and learning preference could be one and the same or actually a little different depending on who you are. Okay, so let's look at it from this standpoint. I provide all my students, and I tell them, even for free, I tell you to download my learning style. And in there is an assessment. And you go and you take that assessment, and it gives you three different things. It will let you know, are you an auditory learner, visual learner, or are you a kinesthetic learner where you need to be hands on, right? So we all have all three of these kind of learning styles. It's just we have one that's a little bit more dominant. So for me, I'm more of a kinesthetic, visual than auditory learner. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to think about that and see where you fall under. But then you also have a preference, right? Because even though I'm a very hands-on learner, I like to like touch the things and manipulate and everything, and that helps me. But what also I do is my preference, even though I like to do that, that's my style. My preference is really being more visual. So I like to actually write down the information I'm studying on, like, let's say, a whiteboard, and I like to recall it back to myself. That's my preference. And I also like to visualize it in my mind and create scenarios and try to see it in a picture like a movie. That's my preference, but my learning style is more kinesthetic. So you see how it works together, but it can also be different. So you want to really have a good understanding of this. And if you don't know what you are, you're probably going to struggle just because you might be studying in the wrong manner. So that is definitely tip number three. If you're like, I think I need to learn my learning style, don't worry, I got you. If you go to my description down below, you'll find a free download. You can go ahead and download that right now. Okay. So we have the learning style down pat. We have our realistic goals, right? We've just emptied ourselves of all the negative thoughts of what we were thinking about this exam. So now the fourth thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to make sure that we are taking breaks and practicing self-care. So we should already come up with a plan, a study plan, right? So you're going to say, okay, I am going to dedicate myself to study at this time and in this environment. Okay. And I'm only going to stick to that. And then I'm going to go and do something that I enjoy to do. It might be I'm going to go listen to music, watch a movie, or whatever. Right. So you have to get into the habit of separating yourself when you're done studying, because sometimes when people study, they're still carrying it with them when they're trying to do stuff, and it's creating a level of anxiety. And before you know it, they're running back to their textbook or to their computer, and they're like, oh, let me just see what this is, or blah blah blah. All right, we don't want to do that. So you want to pick a specific time. So for me, because I have kids, I'm gonna be forced to study in the morning. Now, I shouldn't say forced because I don't mind waking up early, but usually I will probably try to study at 6 a.m. And then I'll have a specific location. It might be the office. It might be in the living room. It might be the dining room. So you always want to have like a dedicated study space. And for you, it might not even be in the house. You might be in the library. You might be at maybe a Starbucks or wherever. All right. You might be outside for who knows it. But you want to set that up. You want to have that set in place and it to be a plan. And it's very important that you have distraction free. Now, this next one is something that I think that if you are feeling multiple times, it's time to do it. Now, everything I gave you is great. You can implement these strategies, right? But if you're like, you know what, Tanisha, all that sounds great, but I really, really feel like I need more assistance, then it probably is time for you to invest in exam prep resources. Okay. There is so many out there. You have my course, which is Study with a Coda. And of course, in that course, I break it down, like I mentioned, where you have every day you have daily assignments, there's quizzes, you have a Facebook group to kind of help you with accountability and to ask questions and just support, right? And then you have other resources like PassEOT, TrueLearn. You have tutors you can invest in so you can do one-on-one. That might be a little bit more expensive, but you might have to get to the point where you say, you know what? I need to invest. Because think about it. Every time you're scheduling your exam, that's costing you money. So maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to invest in some additional support. And the last tip I'm going to give you, because I don't want this video being too long, is this. Visualize your success and put in the work, right? Visualize your success and put in the work. It's really, it really hurts my heart when people just talk so negative about themselves, and or just not even if they're saying it out loud, just thinking about it, and that just the thought of it is setting you up for failure. And I know it's hard because you're like, I went through this multiple times, there must be something wrong with me. But you really got to start visualizing the success. You have to visualize the success. You have to stay persistent with your studying, and you have to commit to it. You need to be honest with yourself, right? Now, here's a caveat. If you are failing multiple times, and I mean you are feeling bad, like you're not even getting close, I don't know if this might truly be the profession for you. Okay? Especially if the writing's on the wall that you're just not cutting it. And I'm all about being positive, but I'm all about being honest as well, right? If you are coming and you're like, I feel this 5, 6, 7 or more times, then you really need to reevaluate, because this is my thing. Oftentimes, if you're feeling that much, you've probably been taking this exam over a long period of time, right? I always recommend, of course, and this is not for everybody, but I do recommend that when you graduate from your OTA or OT program, that you try to give yourself 2 to 3 months max of studying, and then you take your exam. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. Okay. And if you have been out of the game for 2, 3, 4+ years, this is like a uphill battle for you. Not to say that you can't do it, because I had someone come into the course. They've been out of the game for a year, and after taking the course, and they were, I mean, they were on it. They were asking questions. They were showing up, right? They were showing up for themselves. I can't even say they were showing up for me. They were showing up for themselves, and they used me, right? And that's okay. That's why I'm here. But they did it, and they passed after being out of the game for a whole entire year. All right. So I hope that this was encouraging. I hope that it helps you regain the motivation to just say, you know what, let me do it. And be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you know you're not studying the way you're supposed to, if you know you're trying to study and there's a whole bunch of distractions, if you know you have no study plan, if you know that you're just not understanding the information, seek out the help. Be honest with yourself. Stop spending and wasting money that you probably don't need to do. So I wish you guys the best. I'll talk to you on the next video, and good luck with your future endeavors.